Yeah, good morning, guys. And tensions are up, sure. A little bit of anticipation going into today. More just some tired eyes. Tyler Courtney, Brent Cruz, just a couple that we're going to see here in this first D main that were supposed to run last night. Tyler Courtney locked into all of the other A-class qualifiers as well as the non-wing outlaw and wing outlaw, or excuse me, the A-class wing. So he was in the building till late last night and said, I would have went home and had some fun. And, well, apparently he did with Clinton Boyles anyway late last night. So had to inject some caffeine into those veins, some NOS energy drink, as Tyler's in this early morning outlaw wing, D main this morning. Brent Cruz also in it as well. Talked to both of those guys. Again, for Tyler Courtney, it's pretty simple. This is a new motor that they put in for this thing, trying to shake it down. So don't expect too much. Unless Tyler gets some lucky breaks, he may go ahead and continue to run the soup in this outlaw wing. For Brent Cruz, kind of similar story. This is his last shot. He's blown 2 motors here at the Tulsa Shootout so far this year, here in just 3 days. And so this is his last opportunity. He still has non-wing outlaw to go in the qualifiers, so this is more of a motor shakedown as well. Engines are fired, so some sleepy eyes, but nothing gets you woken up quite like these 600cc micros.
Well, and the word that we got, thank you, Chris. The word that we got is that tensions were a little high and emotions were already a little bit up at the end of last night and tomorrow. Due to the schedule change that happened at the end of the night, it was one of those deals we didn't want to race up until 1 o'clock in the morning. But you look at a guy like Sunshine who raced last night versus come back here tomorrow morning. Hours of sleep are kind of lost in that process.
Yeah, definitely you kind of understand both sides of the situation, right? The track crew here and the official decided, we're not going to race late. That's just silly. We can't keep everybody here. And track was wearing out quickly. And so just start fresh tomorrow. Well, those guys that only had to run that one class, Sunshine was done at about 11 a.m. Yesterday and stuck around all day. So you can understand why he's a little bit frustrated too. But at the end of the day, I think maybe they wanted a little bit wider track to race on that they would have saw last night. And now we got a fresh green racetrack. So it's, you see it all, and that's product of the shootout, right? These class didn't go how those guys wanted to, so they're probably already a little bit frustrated. And now another thing doesn't go their way, so it just piles on top of that. The big thing is they're going to need to put that behind them, right? We have qualifiers coming up later today. You got to be mentally right for those qualifiers. And, luckily for Sunshine, he's got a bunch of NOS turbos back there. He can shotgun 1 or 2 of those and get ripping today.
Connor, we talked a little bit about it from a personnel standpoint, how much tighter these days have been here at the Tulsa Shootout, as you were a rookie last year, and we had, 10 a.m. to 10 p.m. days. These 9 a.m. to 11:30, they can wear not only on the staff, but on the racers as well, and you can see that because you've talked to a whole lot of them in the pit area. There's some tired boys.
Yeah, absolutely there are, but like I said at the end of the broadcast last night, everybody knew it was going to be that way coming into Tulsa this year, so everybody's focused at going after that driller, and we see Tyler Courtney rolling down the front straightaway there as we get ready to line up this first D main. I saw Sunshine tweeted this morning, you can't race all day if you don't start in the morning, so not really sure what vibe Sunshine is feeling, but you know what? There's a way to win All-Star Championships. There's a way to win USAC Championships like Sunshine has, and that's you've got to show up anywhere and race. It doesn't matter the situation, the circumstances. There can be rain, the track can be wet, it can be rubber down. Fortunately, we're not in either one of those situations here. It's just early in the morning, and there's a lot of tired people and a lot of race cars here, but Sunshine's a racer. He knows how to show up and win no matter the circumstances. That's how you win championships and be as successful as he's been. So I'm excited to see what he and Brent Cruz can do here, and I'm really looking forward to a run through the soup for them.
Well, they've got one extra benefit to this, is that the format sheet that we have seen shows that this D feature and the 4 D features that we're running here for the Outlaw Wing Division to start the morning off are taking 4 transfers. So the only one of these D mains across the board in any of the divisions that we've seen that's taking 4 up and forward, so that'll help them out. Lap count's supposed to be 10 laps top 4 transfer, and that definitely helps those guys who are buried a little further in the field. And as we know, it's been a little harder to pass in your Outlaw Wing Division, especially on fresh racetracks.
Yeah, there's just a big wing up top to lock everybody down, right? And the speed is so much greater, so it's tough. And I think, potentially you could even worry a little bit about air, dirty air on this racetrack. Not something we talk about often, but
not really.
It's a potential here that we may see. We'll keep an eye on it and let you know. And to explain what that is, the air coming off these wings at a high rate of speed flows further back behind the car behind you, right? So that car behind you loses air on his wing, which is less downforce and will make a car get tight. So kind of a brief explanation of that, but man, it's not something you really talk about in micros a whole lot. Definitely a big sprint car thing. And, you know, we'll see if it's an effect right here.
Even less so on a 5th mile sized racetrack.
Yeah, absolutely, right? It's not like we're running on a big quarter mile. So it's, you know, it's just something to think about, and probably something a micro guy would realize a lot more than maybe Sunshine. Just, you know, the effect of it on a sprint car is so big, and he's learned all year how to deal with that. So some of these guys with the micros that are just used to, you know, small amounts of downforce on their wing, if you lose that little bit of downforce, they're probably going to feel it.
Connor, we've talked a lot already about Tyler Courtney, a little bit about Brent Cruz, who's going to be here in this first D feature as the drivers are hot lapping. As you take a peek through this early D feature lineups, anybody else standing out to you as, wow, he's in a D main event in the Outlaw wing division? Anybody jump out?
Yeah, Curtis Jones starting at the tail of the field here in this one. He and Tyler Courtney actually making up the last row, or be the second to last row as we have E-main transfers. Wait, no, we didn't have E-mains for this, so they'll be in the last row here this first E-main. So, you know, Curtis Jones is a veteran. He's been around a long time. Clinton, do you see something?
Yeah, I was just going to point out, and we didn't have it on camera, but Tyler Courtney was running in like 3 lanes up. He did not hot lap around the bottom right there, and that's just a product of him trying to get a lane ran in on the outside of everybody else, right? He's got to have a place to go. He knows everyone wants to go to the bottom. That's a really big veteran move right there by Sunshine. He looked just as fast, if not faster, than everybody else up there. So it'll be interesting to see what he can do from the back. Like you were saying, Connor, he's coming from deep in this field, and he's got some good guys he's got to pass.
Brent Woods will be on the pole of this one. Doesn't look like he is making the call as of now. At least I don't see him out there. That's going to have Eric Ankowitz inherit the front row inside starting position.
Right now, only 7 cars that we can visually see on the racetrack have made the call out of the total number of drivers that are out there. Here's a look at your lineup. It's Brent Woods and Cody Bryson, row number 1. Eric Ankowitz, Alec Frizzell, row 2. Kyle Gray and Jacob Johnston in row number 3. Austin Lewis, Robert Lee in row number 4. Brent Cruz, Chad Lobb in row 5. Tyler Courtney and Curtis Jones making up row 6. So scheduled for 12, and we definitely do not have 12 cars out there, as only 7 have made the call. Although, again, the guys that we were highlighting, Courtney and Cruz, 2 of them. And
guys, Tyler didn't want to wake up early this morning, but we're in Central Time Zone, right? His dad's back there in the Eastern Time Zone awake watching. Tony Courtney tuning in, driving down the road, make sure Tyler does all he can here in this D feature.
And Tyler Courtney, Clinton, you talked a little bit about Sunshine trying to run in the top early on there in those hot laps. Was supposed to start on the inside row, but with the car scratching, he is actually going to be by himself back there in row number 4. So he'll get to start anywhere he wants. I expect him to probably go to the top in turn 1, but you know, that could help him have a better first lap for sure.
Yeah, we talked about, you know, how the lane in front of you seems to kind of split when you're further towards the back of the field, but I don't expect to see that happen today, right? Everyone knows there's one place to go on this start, and it's to the bottom. So I would honestly expect Tyler to kind of tuck in behind Brent Cruz in that bottom row and just see if they can kind of get up by a few of these cars on the outside. And, you know, top 4 go. You know, there is implications of winning this rather than being 4th. That's a row in the next one. But, you know, these guys shaking it down. I don't expect to see Tyler take too many big risks.
part of what's going to benefit both of those guys in the back, and Cruz and Courtney, is all the scratches that have happened in front of them. I mean, they were slated to go off in positions, do quick math, 9 and 11, and now they're going off in 5 and 7, so they've already picked off a number of cars that by the scratches they don't know how actually have to get by. That's going to help them a ton. And again, our schedule says they're taking 4. The green flag is out, and day 3 of the Tulsa Shootout is underway. Early on, it's Ankowitz down at the bottom. He's got the lead. Ankowitz, the early leader. Contact coming down the front straightaway. Alec Frizzell runs into the 41. And we will go caution quickly here. So yellow flag out in the raceway. Free spot for the guys at the back. And a rough break for Cody Bryson. Started outside of row number 1. Bryson will go to the back of the pack.
The cars that did not make the call: Brent Woods, Kyle Gray, Jacob Johnston, Robert Lee, and Curtis Jones. So that leaves us, like Caleb mentioned a couple times, with 7.
And Cruz and Courtney have already made their way into what we believe to be transfer spots here.
It's a Courtney family party. Taylor Courtney, Moonshine, tweeting in that he's up watching this morning, working on midgets for Chili Bowl. They're bringing a huge team down this year, building all their new cars. And if you don't follow Taylor Courtney on Twitter, go check him out. I think it's at Moonshine22C. they build all their own midgets, frame up, and bring them to Chillyville. So really cool what Taylor and the boys down there in Texas get done each year and bring a competitive and seems like a fun partying group down here to Tulsa.
Next time we get a chance, we want to interact with you guys on Twitter. We'll give you the official Flow Twitter and our personal accounts as well. That way, if you guys want to interact with us, we'd love hearing from you. And talking back and forth as we'll go green flag racing once again. It's Ankowitz leading them down into the bottom of corner number 1. Working up on the high side, it's the 91 of Frizzell, and there's a look at Brent Cruz taking a shot and already moving himself into second.
Yeah, Sunshine trying to move up too. Frizzell was trying that outside. His car's just a little bit too tight on a green track like this. Easy pass for Cruz and Sunshine. As Sunshine making easy work to Brent Cruz on the mistake.
Nice move by Sunshine. Cruz, even though we know he's blown 2 Outlaw motors, doesn't appear to be underpowered at this point in time on the lockdown racetrack. Here comes Courtney, rolling in on Ankowitz, looking for another spot. Difference between first and second is just lane choice. Difference between second and third is a full row. So you know Cruz wants to get second back desperately if he can make it happen.
You can see Sunshine's brake rotor starting to glow, and he's turning left a lot. That's because it's too tight. When you're too tight, you hold down your brakes, trying to lock up that left front, like we talked about last night, to help keep the car rotate for you. So Sunshine even tightened a little bit of an ill-handling race car here in the early going as Ankowitz come around to take the white flag.
Ankowitz in the hyper up front. Has Sunshine about a car length off of him, but don't think Sunshine will press the issue here too much as the laps wind down. Again, looking for the top 4. Cruz actually going to get by Sunshine for second there at the line. So Ankowitz, Cruz, Courtney, and Frizzell will be the ones moving on. Austin Lewis, Cody Bryson, and Chad Loeb done for the Winged Outlaw portion of this year's Tulsa Shootout. So Ankowitz, Cruz, Courtney, and Frizzell will move into C-Main number 1 for the Winged Outlaw division.
Rare mistake there by Sunshine that's going to cost him a row in the next C feature.
That race only went 8 laps, too. We had thought originally it would go 10. It only went 8, so we're going to see 8-lap D-mains with 4 advancing. As we get ready to move on to D-feature number 2 here in the early morning hours. Wherever you guys are watching us in, we want you to tweet your Flow seat. Hashtag that. Tweet your Flow seat at Flow Racing on Twitter, FLORACING. Clinton Boyles 98 on your Twitter. At Caleb Hart 83, that's Caleb with a K, and at Connor Wade 66.
Correct.
You got
Here's your starting lineup for D-Main number 2. Devin Fader, Austin Olstrom on the front row. Row 2, Brianna Lawson, Brad Sutton. Row 3, Noah Mel, Joshua Hewish. Row 4, Wade Olmstead, Jason McDougall. Row 5, Cheyenne Potter, Kevin Ulmer. And then row 6, Cody Parmley and Todd Kirkman. Out at turn number 4, green flag in the air. Fader off the pole. Olstrom moves down to the bottom, gets in line behind him as you see Sutton and Lawson, I believe that is, going at it there for third. Lap 1, it's going to be Fader, Olstrom, Lawson, and Sutton, the running order. As Fader very quickly getting away, Clinton.
Yeah, it doesn't take long for Fader to stretch his legs a little bit here and just run some clean laps and get a little momentum in his pocket on the day. A little tighter battle back on behind the pack. It's really heating up for the 5th place position between Kirkman and Mel, but that's one spot out of the transfer.
There's Sutton in the 9B. Now we look at the battle for the 5th position between Todd Kirkman and Noah Mel. Kirkman to the inside in turn 3. He's going to get the spot. So Kirkman able to pick up some ground. Still has 6 laps to try to get into a transfer spot. And Clinton, seeing what that Kirkman car is doing, looks like he's gaining on the 9B.
Yeah, Kirkman making some good laps here. See how he opens up his straightaway just to create a little more speed around the corner. The 9B is a little bit tight, and that's the move Kirkman needed right there to get by into the final transfer spot.
The veteran Kirkman into a transfer spot as laps wind down. Sutton going to lose another spot to Mel, so Sutton now back to 6th. Again, we're looking for the top 4. Bradley Hewish is the car behind Sutton. As we look now at the battle for third, both of these cars in transfer spots as Olstrom in 2nd. Lawson in 3rd, and Kirkman right behind Lawson in the 4th and final transfer spot.
Checkered flag is out, so those are going to be your final transfer cars. It's Feger, Olstrom, Lawson, and Kirkman taking home your 4 transfers and advancing to the back of the C features.
Nice run up the field there by Kirkman, who was scheduled to start dead last on this. Now, thanks to what ended up being 3 scratches ended up a little bit further up ahead, but he made his moves and got her going. How cool is that? Little kid up in the grandstands throwing the flags and helping us out today.
Nice.
You ever
I want to say that is maybe Mike Scher's son from Scherbuilt Suspensions, but I just don't know for sure.
Wants to be like Terry Maddox.
Don't we all, right? Like,
That's
don't
right,
we all want
that's
to be as
true.
cool as Terry Maddox when we grow up? I know I will never be, but I definitely want to be.
I talked to Terry a little bit up in the office this morning as I was picking up the lineups. I said, "You were awfully animated yesterday." He's like, "I am not going to be that animated today. I am tired." It is our third D feature, and this is Hayden Holt and Jesse Maurer on the front row. Shane Kaiser and Carl Lebo in row 2. Paul Hendricks, Mason Kiefer, Joshua Spatola, Mike France, Austin Hawkins, Trey Zorn, and Timmy Buckwalter. Saw Zorn do some big things last night, Connor. It seems like we saw a lot of 3Z car making moves later on in the race. Successful racer in his own right.
Yeah, Zorn, he showed some speed last night in some of the mains he was in. 3-time A-main starter here at the shootout. All of those, though, in junior sprint and restrictor, so he's still after his first A-main start at the Tulsa shootout in one of the top 4 divisions.
You want to talk about getting a gift? He was scheduled to go off 10th in this race. He's actually starting in a transfer spot outside row number 2. So Zorn's work just got significantly easier, although he's going to be in 5th coming out of the first set of corners.
Good move by, sorry, Caleb, good move by Hendricks off the bottom there, turn 2 to work into a transfer spot early on.
Hendricks is on the bubble at the moment, although Zorn trying to peek underneath him. Back end of the car stepped out on him. He'll have to gather it back together and make another run, and then he just got a lot of help as straight up and into the wall goes Hendricks, and we will get our first flip of the day. And
what happened there, Clinton, you
Man,
think?
you got to wonder if that's one of those rack and pinion steering gears and it just stripped out right there. Or potentially steering wheel coming off, but I didn't see that. We see the right front obviously broke.
yeah, it took just a straight shot, like right into the wall. Quit steering all of a sudden. You can see
It's a lower
lower
right front
radius rod on the.
hanging down. That's what they're stuck on. They just don't know it yet. They just need to pick the car back up and flip it around.
Would be interested to see if the tie rod was still intact, although the way that both wheels pointed the same direction at the same time, you'd think that the tie rod was fine.
Yeah.
Just an odd deal. And unfortunate for Hendricks, as his day is going to end early, at least in the Outlaw Wing division.
The steering wheel came out, and I don't know why I thought I didn't see a hub on it. Like maybe
Hub or a
the
quick
steering wheel,
disconnect
or-
is also the
yeah.
terminology there. So taking a look at the car, our bomb Chevrolet Buick flip count now sitting at 36 to start the day off. Brian Ward's on the scene. Good morning, Brian, and you have got wrecked race cars to start your day off.
Yeah, we've got all that damage that you guys have been talking about, both the front and the rear end. We're going to get a word in with the driver as soon as we get on the mule here. They've got the front bumper hooked up. Go ahead and hop on here. Rough way to start the morning. Tell me what you saw coming through that corner.
Well, I threw it in there and it was holding all right, but all of a sudden it just went straight for the wall. I think the steering broke on it.
That's what they were talking about on the broadcast. Looked like maybe something stripped out in there.
Yeah, something happened. Tough luck.
All righty, well, you got done in this division. Where are we going to see you again throughout the day?
We're done. We didn't transfer out of the C feature. The engine shut off on a caution, and we were in a transfer spot. But that's how the shootout goes. You know, tough luck.
All righty, we're going to let you go clean this mess up and hope to see you back here.
Appreciate it, man.
Well, Paul Hendricks, a much better attitude than I would have if I had just hurt thousands of dollars of equipment at 9 in the morning.
Joe's Racing Products replay.
Like you can see his full turn left, then tries to commit full brake pedal, and there's just nothing you can do going this fast around the expo today. And when you don't have any steering, you head to the wall.
Shower of sparks and off and flying as we're down to 5 cars left. Maurer, Kaiser, Holt, Zorn, and now Austin Hawkins, the last man on the outside looking in. He's the Lone Ranger back there. See if he's got any moves that he can pull to make his way up into the top 4 as we're back to racing, with Maurer leading him in through the first and second corners, and Kaiser content to follow. Zorn not. moves to the inside and picks off Hayden Holt. And now Holt in trouble, a little too wide on the racetrack. Austin Hawkins has got a lane to the inside. Can he take advantage of it? Into 3, side by side, down the front straightaway. And Austin Hawkins has got the final transfer position as you look at the split screen view of your leader, Jesse Maurer, who's got almost a full second advantage over Shane Kaiser in first and second. One of the cool flow racing features we've got. We've done some split screen. We've done some picture-in-pictures. The transfer spot changes over again. Holt back underneath Hawkins, and Hawkins fading something serious here as he lost a lot of ground in a hurry. Doesn't sound like his engine's laying down or anything. We don't hear anybody who sounds ill out there.
Yeah, I don't know if as much as Hawkins fading as is Holt figured it out. I think Holt got a lot faster those last 2 laps, and that will secure him the final transfer spot.
Maurer, Kaiser, Zorn, and Holt get the job done here in our third D feature. Top 4 moving up. They're only 8-lap affairs, and we've got one more before we get into C's. But first, we check back in with Chris.
And the eyes are starting to awaken here as we get the first few races in of the day here at the Tulsa Shootout. Gavin Miller visiting with his crew here before he gets going in a C feature coming up. Gavin, big opportunity this first year here at the Tulsa Shootout with KCAM. What's it been like so far?
Yeah, it's been all right. You know, this class and what was the other class? The other non-wing class didn't do so great, but locked in for 2 qualifiers, and I'm gonna try to make this B feature. So, yeah. So.
They changed the schedule last night. How late or early did you go to bed when you got home?
Right away.
Yeah, you had to get up really early. Not expected to run this class until late last night, guys.
Green flag in the air here for D-Main number 4, the final winged outlaw D-Main of the day, and already some beating and banging going on. RTJ, Ricky Thornton Jr. in 20T is into third. Corey Lara's in lead lap 1. Cortland Stevens to his outside in 1 and 2, looking to get by to take the lead. Thornton in the picture. Car stopped in turns 1 and 2, draws the yellow with 1 lap complete. That's the 570 of Johnny Smith. 7 cars making the crawl here for this one. The running order is going to look like this. These are the cars on track. Corey Lira, Cortland Stevens, Ricky Thornton Jr., Dylan Mendito, Robert Titebach, John Campbell, and then Smith in that 570 car. Cars that did not make the call: Hunter Pruitt, Spencer Hill, Billy Lieb, and Brody McLaughlin. Here's a Joe's Racing Products replay. Yeah, the 570 of Smith looking to the inside, gets together with Titebach, and then hits the berm and goes around.
Thankfully, car looks mostly in shape, although wing a little off kilter as the push vehicle comes in and behind it. Push quad. Fire him back off and see if he can restart. Johnny Smith with some work to do. Again, top 4 advance, and we're only going 8 laps here in these D features. We're going to move into the Outlaw Wing C features to follow this. We'll move up to 10 laps, but at that point, we're only taking 2 according to the format sheet that I see as you get a look at the Hyper Racing lineup that Connor was just telling you about and where everybody was originally supposed to start.
Clinton, you know, we saw Sunshine and Cruz there in that first D-Main, and only 3 D-Mains after that, so you know, they got a little bit of time, but still a fairly quick turnaround compared to Sunshine, who waited all day yesterday with no racing. Into the C-Main, what do you think is kind of going through those guys' minds as they get set to come out for the C's?
Yeah, I mean, I still think the game plan is probably the same as they were coming into the D-Mains with. Don't do anything too crazy. You know, you don't want to jeopardize the rest of your weekend over here in a C-Main, but definitely if you get through a C-Main, you're looking a little bit better at a B-Main, you know, tomorrow, right? So, you know, 1 more transfer and you're sitting pretty good, and a little bit more momentum going into these qualifiers later today for your other divisions.
Cortland Stevens takes the lead in 1K as RTJ, the Lucas Oil Late Model Rookie of the Year, goes into second. Corey Lira, who led early, now in danger of falling into the final transfer spot as Dylan Mendito gets by him in turns 1 and 2. So it's Stevens, Thornton, Mendito, and Lira Robert Tittebach on the outside looking in. He's about 2.5 car lengths behind the 01J of Lyra, who holds down the final transfer spot. Tittebach has John Campbell behind him, so keep an eye on Tittebach and Campbell. We'll see if they can work their way into the top 4 here with just 3 laps to go.
Tittebach right there. He's pressing.
Lyra slides up a little bit as we double box. The leader Stevens on the left, the battle for the transfer spot on the right. Tittebach maybe gaining a little bit, got a good run that time out of 2. Lyra keeps opening up the bottom lane out of turn number 4, but Tittebach unable to do anything. Does make it nose to tail going into 1 and 2. He's as close as he's ever been. Stevens coming to the checkered. Thornton and Mendito are going to transfer, and Corey Lyra going to do a great job to hold off Robert Tittebach and transfer into the Winged Outlaw C-Main portion of the program. Chris Wilner, what do you have for us at the top of the ramp?
Yeah, guys, just wanted to update you really quickly. You were mentioning about what some of our transfers we're going to do before heading out quickly for this C feature. A lot quicker of a turnaround than we typically normally see here at the Tulsa Shootout. For Brent Cruz, it's simple. They're trying to protect that motor we talked about at the top of the show. This is the last go. He's still got non-wing Outlaw where he's really good in a qualifier, and that's really his last only opportunity so far here at the Tulsa Shootout. So they told him about to run about 80, 85, maybe 90% in this car, and if they can catch some brakes and keep it rolling, they will, but don't expect Brent Cruz to put on a big show. I do see Tyler Courtney right behind me getting ready to roll down the ramp, so a late call for Tyler Courtney. He was kind of unsure if he'd run the suit, but I talked to Brian Walker of Wakapedia here about a minute ago. He said there may be some bottles of tequila on the line if Sunshine can run the suit, so I think that's some added motivation here this morning.
Yeah, we talked about that the other day, and we noted the transfers and how that's going to play out. We only had 4 D features. Your 1 and 2, like from first and second, or maybe first and second. Here we see them into the C feature number 1, 3rd and 4th, and the first D feature go to C feature number 2. So Sunshine may be playing a little cat and mouse games, trying to decide which C feature he wanted to be in. And as far as the tequila goes, I think there's about 4 or 5 bottles on the line.
Alec Karpowitz, Chris Parmley on the front row, Sam Johnson, Laramie Freeney in row 2, Lane Warner, Xavier Doney in row 3, Tyler Davenport and Dason Roberson in row number 4, Michael Nolf and Jake Galusha in row 5, Cale Crawford and Justin Robinson make up row number 6, and then Brent Cruz and Alec Frizzell will be your D feature move-ups tagging the back of the field. We go to 10 laps, and now only 2 cars moving forward on the program.
It's tough. So, Clinton, if I'm not mistaken, the whole tequila on the line thing for Sunshine has to do with pools, right?
Absolutely has to do with pools.
Through the corner, we're green. C feature, the first for the Outlaw Wing Division, the premier class here at the Tulsa Shootout. And a brilliant move down on the bottom of the raceway by Xavier Doney in the 74 to pick up a couple of spots early on the low side of the speedway. Has to play a little bit of defense as Laramie Freeney right in behind him, looking to take it away from him. As you see cars all over the place, outside of transfer spots, in and behind, just trying to make something happen.
Brent Cruz with some big moves down there, trying to make something happen. We've seen him already pass about 5 or 6 cars. You don't need to pick up his pace just a little bit, but now going to have an outside groove open if he can make it work.
That's your race for the transfer spot. You can see the transfer position cars. They've got the little yellow crowns on top of their tiles on the Flow Racing ticker. Doney gets around Johnson, and I don't think Doney's done. Xavier's got an extremely fast race car. Got a little bit of maneuverability out of the thing as well, and he's putting the moves on Karpowitz, trying to take the lead.
Yeah, Doney spent the year running a non-wing sprint car for the Design Source flooring team, and Dan Lawson. They come down here, he's kind of stepping back to the original roots in the micros as he makes a big move for the lead. So coming back a little bit different change of pace for him, but working out for Xavier Doney, who's as fast as we've seen him all weekend.
Xavier Doney started a little bit deeper in the field officially outside row number 3 and already into the top spot, so a nice move from him. Karpowitz is second. Now Johnson seeing his shootout dreams about to end as the white flag out on the raceway. 9 of 10 laps complete. Johnson with one more shot. He's a little ways back as we'll watch your leader. See you later. Xavier Doney gets the win here in the C feature. Karpowitz will be second and advance up into the back of a B main event. Chris Wilner with an update on Sunshine.
Yeah, so a little bit of a clarification of why we didn't see him in the C feature number 1. So talked to some of his crew members. They said they kind of told him to either win the race or finish third so they could be in the second C feature. If you finish second or fourth, you were in the first. So that a little bit of a strategy call so that Sunshine could have one extra race to get some time to work on that race car and get it set up for a run through the soup. So strategy play for Sunshine here. We may see what other cars do as far as in those transfer positions to get themselves a little bit extra time before the next one.
Yeah, I mean, that's a good call, right? Because we just had another 10 laps from 12 or so cars on racetrack that opened it up that much more and widened it out. So there's a look at your lineup for race 226 on the weekend, Connor.
Junior Ankwitz and Neil Allison on the front row. Jane Rogers, Chase Porter, row 2. Brandon Shaw, Corbin Ruschenberg in row 3. Brian Dawson, Cameron LaRose in row 4. Johnny Bolin, Gage Weldon, row 5. Derek McGrew and Dylan Beal in row 6. And then it'll be Eric Ankwitz and Tyler Courtney rounding out the field from row 7. Some good names in this one. I mean, Jaden Rogers, Chase Porter showing some speed. Ruschenberg, a good young talent. Cameron LaRose, Johnny Bolin, and of course Sunshine coming from the back.
A little father-son action kind of bookending the field, too, between Junior and Eric Ankwitz.
Junior's got it a lot easier than Eric does. Junior on the pole in 14Z alongside Neil Allison. We go green. Allison gets the jump from the outside pole. Ankwitz falls back early as Porter hops into second. Already side by side for the transfer. Ruschenberg by Rogers on the top. Into fourth, now into third. Drops Eric Ankwitz, or I should say Junior Ankwitz, back to the transfer spot.
There's Sunshine popping into your screen, trying to make some big moves early here, only on lap number 2.
Sunshine already up to 8th, make it 7th. Dives to the inside of the 27H of Brandon Shaw into 6th. Now going to run Rogers up the track a little bit. And Tyler Courtney is already into 5th. Now Tyler Courtney's into a transfer spot. What a move by Tyler Courtney as he has found his way into it.
No, Tyler's into 4th. We're taking 2, but the transfer cars are right ahead of him. That's Porter in the final transfer spot as he disposed of Ruschenberger quickly. He's going to have about half the race here, still 5 laps to go to get by Chase Porter.
My bad, forgot we were taking 2 here, so it is a little tougher for Sunshine, but now he's got a shot. Allison and Porter, your top 2. Sunshine on the outside looking in, laps winding down.
Porter not just going to slip off the bottom all on his own. Tyler's going to have to get aggressive if he wants it. Shays a look to the inside there, just a little bit too tight still. We saw that in the final one. Laps are winding down quickly. They're going to be coming around. That was 3 to go.
Jaden Rogers in 4th, looking to throw his hat in the mix as Sunshine still all over Porter. Little bit closer, but Clinton, was that a mistake there and 4 allowed Porter to get away just a little bit?
A little bit. I'd like to see Tyler try and set him up in 3 and 4 and pass him in 1 and 2. Tyler gets a good run through 1 and 2 and just doesn't quite have it in 3 and 4. White flag's out. He's going to have to get aggressive right here.
Sunshine to the inside. They get together. They both slide up. Rogers now in the picture. Sunshine into second. Rogers by Porter. Rogers to the inside. Sunshine slams the door. Checkered flag. Allison wins it. Tyler Courtney gets second with a last lap pass for the transfer.
There's a whole lot of guys on the backstretch over in turn 3, giving hat shakes to Sunshine. Tyler Courtney right there. Big move around Porter. And Porter runs him over on the front stretch. Man, I don't know why, right? Like, we get what's on the line. And
you look at it, you look at the way that Tyler went by, it wasn't dirty.
No.
It was physical, not dirty.
Yeah, I didn't
There's
think so either. The hat shakes from A.J. Parker and Blade Kearns.
Big old head over there.
Mitchell Moles up there doesn't look impressed. He's just scrolling on his phone.
Well, a lot of pools are still alive at this point in time.
That does a world of wonders for a lot of pools.
Barely, but still alive. As I was looking at lap times coming across, when he was running people down, Tyler was 3/10 faster than anybody in the field other than Allison, who was out by himself. So the car speed's there.
Now there's
need
a
little
chance,
help to
right?
get through
when
the
we
B.
go to B mains, you think we get a little bit wider of a racetrack that you just got a bit of a chance on. So we move on to C feature number 3.
It's Bradley Hewish and Gavin Miller on the front. Carson Bolden and Joshua Shipley, row 2. Garrett Twitty and Hunter Wise. Then Preston Norbury, Samuel Holt. Sophie Frazier, Braden Kundara. Dawson Nunnenkamp and Dylan Hull. Devin Figure and Brianna Lawson are our move-ups from the D.
Going pretty well here so far, knock on wood, as we haven't had too much craziness here in these early C and D mains this morning.
And we hope to continue that as we've got another 90-something races to get to today in the busiest Tulsa Shootout in history. Day number 3 of the 37th annual Lucas Oil Tulsa Shootout here on Flow Racing. Off the corner, we go green. Down the back straightaway, and Hewish has some problems, goes bouncing and costs him positions. He's going to come back with a vengeance on the bottom of the racetrack. Hewish trying to get back into the top spot, but it's going to be Shipley, an on-wing stud out of Arizona, as we've got a car with problems upside down over in the turn.
Hunter Wise in car 47H for Frank DeLucia Development.
Yeah, I think that was kind of a chain reaction event there, and I don't know the Hunter was the guy that necessarily started it. He just caught the bad end of the stick there.
Engler Machine and Tool up on the top wing of the Stallard chassis. Slight tip over there, and not sure if he made any hard contact with the wall, as we're going to get a Joe's Racing Products replay here. Clinton, what do you see?
Yeah,
Skip
man, maybe he was. Yeah, and the 48 came in, so Hunter was kind of the guy that caught a right rear tire and drove it up there straight into the wall.
There's not a whole lot of damage on the right front. He might be able to continue. We'll see for sure. Yes, he will continue. We see the front bumper bent up a little bit, but that's not going to give him too difficult of a time. Didn't have to go to the tail of the field. That's what's going to be most difficult, to try to work his way back inside the top 2.
So, oh, go ahead, Caleb.
At least he has 9 laps to work with, and we've seen guys come from the back as is, might need a little bit of help.
Yeah, absolutely. We've seen some really good racing here these first couple laps or these first couple races, and I just got a message from Steve Hahn saying Gravel left the building at 6 a.m. this morning after working all night long on the racetrack to go shower and come back here and work. And with that, real quick, we'll go down to Mr. Brian Ward.
Guys, just real quick, I wanted to take a look at the top wing of that 48, who was also involved in that incident from the wheel hopping. He got his top wing adjusted. That's going to affect his driving for the remainder of this race.
Thank you very much, Brian. As you see, the wing tree knocked off the back of it. So, a little different wing angle.
Flat and forward, huh?
Yep.
Green flag out for Gavin Miller. Miller and Shipley, 1 and 2. Hewish falling back. As, boy, they're racing physical back in the pack as well. You're looking at the 48, and Wheel standing something serious is the aero package. A little bit off on Dylan Hull at this point. Nice move to the inside from Twitty. Works up a spot on Bolden. They're all out of the transfer as of right now. Only 2 moving up and forward. Miller and Shipley are those 2. You're watching 4th and 5th with your lead pack ahead of them. Bradley Hewish in the 5 trying to run back down Josh Shipley. Racetrack moving up. You can see Shipley putting his right rear on what justifies as the high groove right now, about midway down the racetrack. Car length and change separates 2nd and 3rd. 4 to go. Shipley trying to stretch on Hewish as they both work around to the point where Twitty trying to close in on Hewish. Field separating out, single file over most of it. Feger in the 40 car, you got to look at him. Once again, a lot of single file action. There is Gavin Miller.
One more time around for him. Shipley, avoiding a mistake, should be able to cruise home in a transfer spot, Caleb.
That's just how it goes. Gavin Miller, Josh Shipley, they'll move into B main events. And we will see them later on in our show. Hewish, Twitty, Norbury, Feger, Bolden, Hull, Kandara, Lawson, Wise, and Frazier will all to the trailer and be done for the Outlaw Wing Division. Let's get an update. Chris Wilner's got a story for us.
And another driver at the top of the ramp had to get up a little bit earlier this morning than probably expected. Chris